Howdy, folks. Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer, and continuing my series, my catch-up series here, where we're going to get caught up on all these topics that I should have been talking about, but for different reasons couldn't. And today's is going to be the very first of the Star Wars topics that I need to get caught up on. Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and then Jedi Fallen Order, the video game, will be the third. So today we'll do Rise of Skywalker, the movie. Tomorrow we'll do The Mandalorian, and then the following day, hopefully, we'll do the Fallen Order. Then we'll be all caught up on all the Star Wars content stuff. So let's talk about Rise of Skywalker. Of course, there's been a lot of time that's gone by now since it came out for me to absorb and digest all the different reviews and opinions that people have had and all that. And I actually have, as an old school Star Wars fan, OG as it might be known, because I was there in '77 when the very first one premiered, episode 4, back then just called Star Wars. It premiered, and I was at the Grauman's Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard when they had Darth Vader and R2-D2 and C-3PO, and the characters come and put their hands in the cement like they do everybody at the Chinese Theater and all that. I was there for all of that, so I was one of the first people as just a kid. I was like 11 years old, I think, to see the movie, and so that qualifies me to say, yeah, I'm from the old school. And having said that, this film, Rise of Skywalker, after seeing it, it's obvious that I was the target audience, and anybody that was like me was the target audience for this film. Because they tried to they did wrap up all of these different topics of things like with Chewbacca and, of course, Leia. Of course, this is a spoiler review. If you haven't seen it by now, it's on home video now. So with Leia dying and all that, they wrapped everything up into a nice, and when I say they, I mean J.J. Abrams, wrapped everything up into a nice little neat package, even to the point of and I appreciated it, but it was kind of sappy that Chewbacca finally got his medal. And the reason that I say I appreciated it, because that was a big source of contention for us old schoolers when the first movie came out, episode 4, and everybody got their medal for destroying the Death Star and saving the galaxy and everything else. We were all saying, how come Chewbacca didn't get a medal? He helped just as much as everybody else did. And, it's like racist against Wookiees or what? He didn't. And so in this film, of course, they make sure that he gets a medal, which was a nice touch. For those that aren't old school, maybe they didn't appreciate it as much and just saw it simply as sappy, which I can appreciate. I can understand. But there's been the argument that when Rey destroyed the transport that she thought Chewie was on, and we all thought that Chewie had been killed, a lot of arguments, people are saying that they should have just left it that way. There shouldn't have been, the decoy, transport, and Chewie was actually on a different one. They should have just let his character go out that way, But J.J. Abrams wanted to tie up all those ends, like making sure he got his medal, and so the whole movie felt that way. The whole movie felt like a series of those things where they're trying to tie everything back together, with Rey going back to Tatooine and burying the lightsabers, back to where it all began. That's what the whole movie felt like. And I'm okay with that, because this is going to be a complicated answer. This is going to be a complicated explanation. If the Mandalorian TV show had not existed when I saw this film, if I hadn't seen any of the Mandalorian, if it hadn't been a thing, I probably would have felt a whole lot different, because I feel that this film tied everything up from the original storyline, the Skywalker storyline, and put it to bed, allowing Disney to now start exploring other storylines and things that they don't have to worry about trying to do fan service. Not having to worry to satisfy people like me, the old school people. And they can just do something original and different or whatever. And they've proved that with The Mandalorian, which we'll go into tomorrow when I go through the whole review of the first season of The Mandalorian. So, if The Mandalorian had not existed, I would have probably disliked this film and just saw it as, just a fluff piece, basically. But having seen what they can do with The Mandalorian, that they can do Star Wars right, I'm glad that they were able to just say, here, let's just put this in a package and be done with it. And now the Skywalker thing is done. Let's move on. There was a few years back at Comic-Con. We have a Comic-Con here. They can't call it Comic-Con anymore. They lost a lawsuit, so they call it Fan X now. But Timothy Zahn, this guy right here, the author of the Thrawn trilogy, which, for people that have read the books, I have not read this. I have not read any Star Wars books since The Splendor of the Mind's Eye, which is an old Star Wars book. Came out like right after I think it was, I want to say Empire Strikes Back, or maybe Jedi, the original trilogy, I can't remember. But right in that area is when that book came out. And so that was the last Star Wars book I read. But everybody that I heard from said that the Thrawn trilogy is a must-read. So now with this quarantine thing, I might actually sit down and read this, because this is the 20th anniversary of it. But I interviewed Timothy Zahn when I had him. I bought this and had him sign it and all that. And it was right after Disney had purchased the Star Wars licenses, LucasArts, everything from Lucas. And I was expecting, I asked him, I said, so how do you feel about this thing with Disney buying Star Wars, And I was fully expecting him to just rant and rave and be pissed off and everything else. And he was the exact opposite. He said he was glad that Disney bought it, because he felt that nobody had been doing anything with the Star Wars license anyway, and that maybe they would. And I know what he was thinking. He was thinking, oh, they're going to make movies out of my books. Cha-ching. I know that's what he was thinking. And then, of course, after some time had passed, and then they said, none of this stuff is canon. They threw it all the extended universe stuff, they threw it all out. So unfortunately, I haven't been somewhere where I could see him again to ask him again now, because that would be an interesting question to ask him now. How do you feel that Disney, because they're not going to make movies out of stuff like this, right? Because it's not considered canon unless they change their mind and backflip or whatever. So yeah, to wrap up, I mean, I enjoyed the film Rise of Skywalker. It was I found it entertaining. I enjoy it for what it was, that it wrapped up the Skywalker storyline and lets us move on to stuff like The Mandalorian and whatever else they're going to do. Now, had I done this video after I saw the film, but obviously I had too much going on in my life and I wasn't doing videos, so I didn't. Had I done this then, I wouldn't be able to say the following. Now, with what we're going through right now with this virus and the fact that the world is shut down, I don't know what that means now for the Star Wars license or any films, because they're not going to be filming anytime soon for anything. Not to mention what it's doing to the actual movie industry when it comes to movie theaters. We're seeing now that they're starting to release first-run movies directly to streaming services now. And I think Onward, they released it direct, it was in theaters, but then they released it quickly to Amazon or something like that, and you can buy it for like $20. And then you own the film digitally, obviously, but that's the same price you would have paid to go see it, for two people to go see it. Now you own it. Is that the future of movies? Are we going to see movie theaters die off? Are we going to see a return to drive-ins? Because as a kid, we went to the drive-in all the time. It was fun. You just pack up the car. Kids, we were usually in our pajamas. That was kind of like the thing. It was like, yeah, you're sitting in a car, but you feel like you're on the couch watching a movie, And so kids, we would all go in, our pajamas and stuff like that. And I could see that now as there being a return to drive-ins, and a lot of movies just going directly to digital, to streaming. This might kill off big movie theaters. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what it's going to do to future franchises? Like the Star Wars franchise, the Avatar franchise, which is supposed to be making all these other movies, these billion-dollar, budget movies and stuff like that. We have no idea now. So, yeah, Rise of Skywalker, if I had to give it a grade, I don't know. I'd probably give it, based upon what I said, that I'm glad it wrapped everything up and lets us move on, I'd probably give it like a 7, So, that's it, guys. Oh, and yes, there was only one person, I think, that responded from yesterday saying that I could do these in 720p, and I don't think anybody's going to notice the difference. And it makes it a lot easier for uploading. The file size is just so much better, manageable when you're not filming in 1080p. So, because I think the tubes are just jammed right now with everybody being home. Trying to upload big files is just arduous right now. So, anyway, guys, that's it for this one. Tomorrow we'll look at doing The Mandalorian. Day after, we'll look at doing Jedi Fallen Order, the video game. And then I got a bunch of other topics. We can keep going from there. We'll just do one of these a day. So, till tomorrow. Catch you on the flip side.